Hello everyone, today I'll be doing a solo master Nightfall run with Warlock and with Graviton Lance. For my subclass, I'll be using Voidwalker 3.0. Here are the mods and the fragments I'll be using in this video. For the kinetic, I'll be using the Krait. Next, I'll be using Graviton Lance Pulse Rifle with Catalyst. For the heavy, I'll be using Threaded Needle. For the helmet, I'll be using Ashes to Assets, Linear Fusion Ammo Finder, 5 Discipline. Any mod to make Elemental Wells with a grenade. Next, I'll be using Carnivorous Hold with Overload Auto Rifle, Seeking Wells, and 10 Discipline Unstoppable Pulse Rifle. For the chestplate, Double Void Arc Resistance with Funnel Wisdom and 5 recovery. For the legs is Linear Fusion Scavenger, Volatile Flow, Innervation, and 10 Discipline. Last will be Bomber, Loosen Finisher, Overload Grenades, and 5 Discipline. This week I decided to go for Warlock and use the famous exotic, the Graviton Lance. Now there will be blueberries that will unfortunately die, but it'll be a sacrifice I'll be willing to make in this video. Now there will be overload champions at the entrance, and sometimes they late spawn. I had a few runs where they just late spawn, or times they just spawn much more fast. It's a bit RNG, especially if there's a public event. It could delay the spawn, and I had experience of bad luck of that when trying to deal with overload champions. Mainly, I'll be trying my best to use the Graviton Lance for this video. And as you guys know, when you do make the Elemental Well build, you can get the volatile round, so it's called the artifact Volatile Flow, where if you use your pulse rifle and of course, you know, the linear if it's void, you can do more damage. I am also using the Loosen Finisher, basically heavy finisher on champions. In this room area, I just prefer to use my super once I do get it. I will be spamming a lot of nades in this video, might as well, since we are using Carnivorous Hold with Warlock, and let's be honest, it's very popular. And it makes the Nightfall much easier. And yes, my Nova Bomb got messed up. So what happened over there was the Scorns, right? They were shooting Void, and for some reason my Void Nova Bomb hit that. And it does happen. I mean, this is actually the second time it's ever happened to me on my Warlock on my test runs. And if it does happen to you, you know, nobody's perfect. It happens to everyone, I'm pretty sure. And it was just bad luck. You know, especially being the Nova Bomb. It happens. But the good news is at least I managed to use finisher on the champion. For this room, you'll be having to capture the plate. Now you can actually just step back and just clear the first wave of ads. There will be many waves of ads, but I just prefer to stand here, just clear them down. It will take around 2.5 minutes to clear them down. Or if you do want to stand the plate back and forth, then you can, just to make the run more faster. It depends of your playstyle, and it depends if you do want to quote-unquote speed run it. But for me, I'm just going for the 100k and just really want to show the Graviton Lance. So I decided to just pull back, clear down these ads, spam nades until the waves of ads will be gone. Now at the beginning, I thought it was going to be infinite waves of ads at the first plate. But after doing some mini testing, it's very limited. But the place that we do need to capture later on, those are infinite waves of ads. Here, not really. Not so much at all. So you can actually take your time here, throw your nade, and then for the fire team, you can just have the hunter to go stand the plate and have the two of your fire team distract them. That could be a strat for the GM. You know, just saying, if anyone is like curious, like what if I want to be Warlock, or what if I want to go Titan, or what if I want to go Hunter, or if your fire team doesn't like Hunter, let's just put in a scenario. I'm not saying that people hate Hunters. Let's just say it's 3 Warlocks, then you could just back away, or you can use your well, but be aware that well, using the super for well has the faults of insecurity, so I wouldn't really trust 100% of using well too much, especially on a GM. I always get jinx with well. So now we're going to be claiming the plate and actually go to the next section. And yes, that is the emote. That's basically how I feel in this Nightfall. If only it was a cute baby servitor I was holding. For this section, there will be 1 Overload Champion and 1 Unstoppable Champion. Now for the Unstoppable Champion, for some odd reason, if you do walk close, it will shoot arc at you from far distance, and we already know on a GM they have ability to do that. And we already know that it's not going to be pretty, especially if you don't have arc resistance. Best way to take down the Unstoppable Champion is just from far distance. Another reason why is the Overload Champion can tether all these scorns, including Unstoppable Champion, and it's just gonna be a nightmare. Instead of a linear fusion rifle, you can also use a rocket. If you do have Volatile Weapon, Void Rocket, highly recommend you use it. I don't have one, unfortunately. I accidentally deleted it, or maybe fuse it with another weapon when leveling up. You know, things happen, especially during the grind. Once you clear down Unstoppable Champion, you can push and then throw your nade to stagger the Overload Champion, or to just clear down the Scorn ads. Once you do, you can use your linear or your rocket, or if you're not a big fan of Graviton Lance, then use an exotic weapon. You can use Deathbringer, you can use anything you want, especially Void will be beneficial in this video, well, in this Nightfall. Once we cleared out all the ads, we can actually walk to the next section. Isn't this fun? Once we do make it to the stairs, we're actually dealing with more champions. So you can throw your nade and then use your Graviton Lance or your rocket, anything you want. Once you clear them down, you can throw your nade and use Nova Bomb at the Arc and Solar Scorn captains. Since we don't have any Solar Arc, I'm relying more on the volatile rounds and of course the Nova Bomb. Once I do take down the captains, then I'm going to take down Overload Champion. There's really no need to use Heavy Finisher for the Overload Champion, since this room can be a little bit... It can be a little bit annoying, because you could possibly be stuck if you don't push, if you don't use your super or use your heavy, because the Scorns will infinitely throw void nades, and they're probably the worst in this game. Where on a GM, they can even one-shot you, even with double void resistance. That's why it's always best to use your super, use your heavy, take down the Overload champion as fast as you can. Because the Overload champion will walk, he will jump, and then move back. And it's just not going to be pleasant. Now I'll be teleporting to a different room, and this is when you have to be very cautious of the scribs. In this Nightfall Master, there's modifiers. So that means any void you can be dealt is 50% from enemies. You can also do 25% with your weapons, super, etc. Another modifier, which I forgot what it's called, but basically like blackout. So these scribs can actually one-shot you, and you have to be very cautious with them. That's why I was being a little slow here, because I had some bad experience where I did push and then it just falls down out of nowhere. And then I get one shot. You can also stand here and throw your nade, or if you don't want to, if you don't want to speed run it, then you can just push forward. I heard noises, so I didn't run, because I heard the scribs sound. Really hard to explain, you have to put the sound up to 10. I heard them, so I decided to just be very cautious and take them down before taking down the Overload champion. For this one, you can use your Loosen finisher. Highly recommend, especially if you're using rockets. If you're low on rockets, then go for it. This is probably the safest to get some heavy bricks for your heavy. Once we go to the teleportation, and we're gonna be dealing with more champions. What, you guys think that's it? No, there's always 25 champions or more. Now, we're gonna be dealing with the 2 plates. This is based on your playstyle. I always like to claim the plate that is most difficult to do first, then the easiest. That's me, everyone's different. You know, there are players who prefer the easy plate than the difficult one. For me, I like to get the difficult out of the way, so it could be less stressful for me. There are 2 unstoppable champions. You can use the power of linear or rocket to take down the unstoppable champions. Highly recommend a linear or a rocket. I wouldn't really recommend Leviathan's Breath. Yes, I have tested out. The rocket, Deathbringer, any rocket, any linear actually does more damage than Leviathan's Breath. I did test it out, especially on a stasis build. I was trying to do a stasis build with Warlock, but it didn't work out. It wasn't really that good, so I wanted to redo it and go back to Devour Warlock. I got the run done. It's not like, oh, you didn't fit? No, I did. I just didn't like it. Didn't look fun. Looked very dangerous. It was kind of boring. And thought Graviton Lance is way more funner to run than Leviathan's Breath, unless they buff it a bit. Because Leviathan's Breath, you need to have some mods to make it strong. Where Graviton Lance can clear ads better than that specific weapon. Even Deathbringer. Now I'll be capturing the 2nd plate. It's always best to throw your nades, try to get your nades as much as you can. You can also pop a healing rift if you do want to. I always do, since I am using bomber. I might as well give it a go. Use your super when you do see the Void Scorn, the Void Captain spawn. He always spawns in the middle. And what I like to do over here is I like to stand on this platform. The scribs don't seem to jump over it. And because they don't do that, then it feels a bit more safer to stand there. The only bad thing about standing this platform is the Scorn, the lurkers can shoot you void from standing there. But other than that, it doesn't really matter. You can pop a healing rift, you can throw out your nade. You know, the most important is the scribs. Scribs one-shot you and they don't jump on top of the platform. Therefore, it is the safest. You could just go on the plate over here, and then jump back, go to the plate, again and jump back. That's my opinion of the safest to do. Everyone is different, by the way. Everyone has a play style. So just let everyone know, because I know people disagree with me. Said, no, Blitz, actually you can... Yeah, I know. I understand. Everyone plays different. Alright. Now, this is just me, by the way. You can just make your way to the second plate. Or you can clear down all the ads first and then make your way to the second plate. I always clear them down because they always follow me. Every time I do my test run, they follow me, and that's just me. You know, maybe some players, they don't follow when you capture the plate really fast. Everyone is different, so just be aware everyone's playstyle very different on this Nightfall. And also, I want to talk about Light Blade, but later once we're on break mode. This plate is very easy to capture. This is why I prefer to capture the easiest second. That way be less stressful. You don't have to worry about any death. If you're capturing the first plate, it's a possibility you might die, right? And then you start all over again, and then you waste 10 to 15 minutes of your life. So in my opinion, I think capturing the hardest plate is way easier. So once I capture the plate, I just get the hell out of there. There's really no need to take down the boss, by the way. I did this on purpose. I wanted to show that I didn't kill the mini boss. It still got platinum. They don't count as champions, these Scorn mini bosses. So just to let everyone know, if people are like curious of, do we have to take down these mini Scorn captains to get platinum? No, mainly is the champions. Now in this room, highly recommend you take down the unstoppable champion and clear down all the ads as much as you can. They melt pretty bad. Like, look at this. This Scorn was trying his best. It's the stalker. The stalker was trying his best to melee me and try to throw a nade. So make sure you stagger the champion and clear down all the ads. If you don't, you're gonna have Scorns that will run towards you. At the same time, you're gonna have these stalkers spam nade. And you know how it is on GM. You look at it, you die half of a second, even with double void resistance. Now you can actually just run your way and clear out all the ads fast, or you could just wait to have these corrupted Scorns, the ones that shoot stasis, and you can throw your nade. Usually it's around 4 of them that push. But if you don't want to wait, then just keep moving forward, clear down the ads, take advantage of the devour. So there's just 2 options if you want to do a speed run or take your time. All depends on what you want to do. Here, I decided to take my time and just spam Graviton Lance. So I throw my nade again, and definitely there will be a Scorn champion. Now the Scorn champion is a sniper, so be very aware that it could 2-shot you and sometimes 1-shot you. Yes, I had times where he can 1-shot me on void damage resistance. I don't know why, it just happens very randomly. So I don't trust this overload champion at all. I decided to stagger the overload champion and throw my nade. You can also throw your nade and then use your overload or your heavy. Here I wanted to just use my finisher, even though I have max heavy brick, but you know, just take advantage of loosen finisher for this season, right? Nah, I just realized all these rooms are the same for the boss fight. So you can actually leave heavy bricks on the room, and then when you go to the boss fight, right, you'll have the heavy brick there. I just realized that you can leave heavy bricks at the teleportation, especially that Pacific room. I could be wrong or I could be right, but we'll find out the boss fight. I'm very curious right now. So there will be 2 overload champions, right? and you can use your nade to stagger them. Since for this season's overload grenades for Void, and it's just so perfect for this season for Warlock, for Titan, for Hunter. Titan can also use the same grenade as Warlock, since the 3.0 subclass is fully upgraded and max, etc, etc. I was trying to use my Lucent finisher again. I had an idea of if I do get 2 bricks, I can pick one up, leave it, leave 1 brick, and then when I do need more heavy, I could just go back and pick up the heavy brick. That was my idea, and it did work out. Now this is the most annoying area where things can go your way or it's just not gonna go your way. It's best to use your super. Always use your super, your hunter, your titan, your warlock. Any super, use it. Highly advised to use your super for this, because if you don't, these stalkers, these corrupted captains, they will push, they will throw nades, they will throw arc, and it's just not gonna be fun. Then the mini boss, which we killed, right? He will start shooting a lot of arc, and it's just not gonna be fun. So it's always best to use your super in this room, and it did took me a while in this room, by the way. I had some bad experience. I don't know if anyone had this, but the unstoppable champions teleported. I was at the first pillar at the front. They teleported, and yeah, I had to go back to orbit. They were shooting arc, and it just wasn't working out. You know, things happen, so be aware that the unstoppable champions can teleport. And for this footage, I think I messed up 2 of my nades. You know, I'm not perfect, right? I'm human. Plus, I was hungry. You know, I didn't eat anything until 4 o'clock p.m. And yes, I had an appointment and my mouth was, you know, I can't eat anything until 4 o'clock. So I'll be really honest, when I was doing the solo run, all I can think about was food. I wanted to eat Chipotle or, you know, sushi, etc, etc. That was like the only thing I was thinking about when I was doing this run. Isn't that funny? So yeah, this run was a little slow, but I do apologize. You know, it's not really fun playing a master solo run when you had nothing to eat since 6 a.m. and then you come back home and then you can't eat anything because the dentist, they say, no, you can't eat anything, Blitz, until 4 o'clock. Yeah, that was my day. And I still sacrificed myself to make this run. Isn't that interesting? Now, once I do take down the ads, the stalkers, I saw the unstoppable champion. I thought it'd be a good idea to take him down. Like I said, be aware of the unstoppable champions. They teleport. I'm telling you, I'm not joking. I'm very serious. They teleport. The unstoppable champion's behaving. Usually it lags and goes to the front side. It's crazy. No joke. It's insane. I don't really like this area. There's really no place to hide besides the pillars at the edge. But sometimes you can fall down. Like on Warlock, I had times where I accidentally fall down because I'm not, you know, looking at my surroundings. I mean, if it happens to you, you know, it's normal. You know, Warlocks, we always have that moment where we accidentally fall down. You know, also on Titan too. So once we do defeated the 2 mini bosses, all these scorns, stalkers, it's 2 unstoppable champions. Now it's our best way to go to the boss fight. Now another reason why I save my super is I don't really want to wait for it. Mainly for the boss fight, always have your super. If you don't, then wait for your super, wait for your healing rift, wait for your nade. You're gonna need it for the boss phase. But like I said, if you're doing a speed run and you don't want to do it, then go ahead. So first things first, we're going to be clearing the corruption. We're going to be throwing a nade. Hopefully we'll stagger the overload champion. Once we do, we're going to use our Nova Bomb. And hopefully we can just go and heal ourselves or clear down ads since we have Devour. And try our best to take down the boss. Now the boss, I would say he's very annoying. I wouldn't say he's tough. He's just annoying because he walks around. So if you're familiar of console aim assist, yes, this was the problem with me. I sometimes have the console aim assist where I'm trying to aim and my linear fusion rifle is moving a different way. And it can be a little complicated for console, for Xbox, for PlayStation. You know, and sometimes I was missing my shots here and there, especially if there are surrounded of scorns. When you do see the scorn spawn, you must throw your nade. That way you can get your super, since we're using a mod Ashes to Assets, which I highly recommend for Warlock, because you definitely need your super for this boss fight just to make it easier. Trust me, I tried this on Stasis Warlock and it's not fun. I'll just be very honest. It wasn't fun of having infinite waves of ads, and then you have to walk around the map and you don't have infinite nades like Controverse hold. Just make sure you have Ashes to Assets. Make sure you have a good heavy too. Any good heavy, if it's void, better. You know, if you want to use an exotic rocket or, you know, anything strong, then go for it. Now we're gonna go to the teleportation again. And now I am just being very cautious right now because twice I died over here because I was being reckless. You can pop your healing rift, and then there should be ads that should spawn, but wow, they did not spawn. Well, anyway, I decided to wait for my nade and then throw another one. And I think in this footage I missed my nade. I'm trying to remember fully. Okay, I did not forget my nade. See, my mistake about that. So there's going to be scribs at the middle of the platform. And I just want to be very careful. Now you could push and throw a nade or shoot your Graviton Lance or pulse rifle or anything. I wanted to be on the safe side and then just throw my nade. Now someone will argue and says, why don't you use your super? No, it's best to use your super at the boss fight. You know, that's just my opinion. Because the boss fight has waves of infinite ads and it's not really fun. Especially with a champion walking around. It's gonna be rough. So I recommend for you and for everyone to save your super so you can melt the boss. I mean, for a GM, I would just melt the boss. And of course, take down the champion as well. Okay, so now we're gonna deal with the Overload champion. So I highly recommend, if you don't have a lot of heavy, use your Loosen finisher to take him down. That way you can get heavy and everyone can be happy. Mainly because of boss fight, because once you use your super, you can just spam your linear fusion. Now another option you can do is, instead of using your super to champion, you can save your super for the boss. You can do that if you want to. It all depends of your playstyle or what seems best for you, by the way. Like if you want to save your Noah bomb for the boss, then go ahead. If you don't, then use it on your overload champion or unstoppable. And then after that, you could just farm your super. Now there will be unstoppable champion from left or right. For me, I decided to just throw my nade. I made a big guess, by the way. Usually he goes to the left side or the middle, and it worked out pretty well. I was trying to use my linear fusion, but they were tethering. And let me just warn you that the boss loves to turn invisible and move around. He can also have the ability to stomp you. I think in this video he stomped me and I got super lucky and did not die. He stomped me when I was behind a wall. Yes, I'm not even joking. It's ridiculous. Unfair. And if it was a GM, I'd be back to orbit. You know, and it's not fair. Like, how can he stomp me when I was behind a wall? Doesn't make sense. But you'll see very soon what I mean. I mean, now thinking about it, it's kind of like upsetting and baffling. Shock like that. How is that even possible? How can he stop me behind the wall? Like, there's just no way. How can he do that? Well, thank God I had Devour and Healing Rift. If I didn't have that, I would have been dead. But even with a GM, I don't even think I'll survive. Maybe if I had Protective Light, but they nerfed it. So maybe possibility with Protective Light I could have been safe. But then again, I do need to use Elemental Well build to get my grenade. Or I could switch to Defense Well, right? Maybe that could work too, which I have not tried, by the way. I do need to test that out. So now we're back to the same room as before. So let's find out if we actually save a heavy brick. Now if it does work, then wow, it could be a really cool strat. And what I'm thinking, right, for a GM is the fire team can save heavy bricks by using finishers at the champions. That way when they go to the boss fight, they could pick up some heavy and then melt the boss. Now isn't that a cool strat I can think of right now? And guess what? I just saw the heavy brick. So it does work. So for this room, I haven't tried out the throne room or the dark room. If you use your finisher, you don't have to pick up the brick. If you're full, you could just save it for the boss fight. And you could just save so much time. I didn't know until I found out right now, but that's just another tip. Especially if you're having trouble with heavy, by the way. Or if you have so much heavy, you can just use your heavy finisher for the champions and then just save it for the boss fight, especially for your fire team. So that would be probably the method I'll be doing for the GM, by the way, for the fire team. So now I'm just taking my sweet time, and finally there is a reason why we can use our Lucid finishers at the champions in this room. So yeah, a lot of heavy bricks. Like seriously, look at that. I had like around 4 ammo, now I have 20. So now I'm going to be waiting for my super, so I'm going to do a mini time skip for this. Alright, once I save for my super, now I'm going to go to the boss fight. Now there will be the last champion, the overload will be left or right. I had a bad luck, it went to the left side. Thank the traveler that the overload champion decided to stay in the middle. Usually this doesn't happen, by the way. I got extremely lucky here. And the third phase is probably the most annoying ever because you got these stasis scores that freeze you, infinite waves of ads, the raiders, and this is the perfect time to spam your heavy or spam your nades from the infinite waves of ads. So just be very, very, very cautious for this room. For the Warlock. Now for the Hunter, you know, you can just turn invisible, go around in circles. You know, you saw on my last video that you could just run around, rotate the map, and the boss can't really touch you. Which is good, because if I was going for GM hunter, I could just take my sweet time and do that, right? And then for this one, for Warlock, you just have to be very careful with the ads and take advantage of Devour. Now I was not using my nade because, well, even in waves of ads, I have to make sure I spawn trap them. But you can see here, I had no choice, I had to use it. And my healing rift didn't pop because I was near the wall or the stairs, and sometimes stuff like that can happen. You know, it's a Warlock moment. I'm pretty sure a lot of Warlock mains have this problem. You know, it's totally normal. You know, things happen, and you know, it happens to me too. Alright, so once I get my super, I farm my grenade. Well, farm my super and throw nades. I can use my super. Just spam linear. Spam linear. Try to get Devour because my health was low since this week is Attrition. You know, I rotate and then take him down with the linear. And there you go, guys. We finally defeated the boss with Warlock. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.